Welcome back to my channel, Destiny Vibes with me, JFO. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I teach astrology the right way. I always like to say it that way because what I teach is very, very different from popular astrology. The work I do is your destiny, and it's also your hero's journey movie script. This is so much different than popular astrology. And one little thing I'll kind of share with you to help you understand why it's so different is that we actually have every theme of the 12 themes in our hero's journey roadmap. We're all working with the same themes. It's just yours is a unique kaleidoscope for you. It's a unique fingerprint for you, a soul fingerprint, if you will. It's literally God's love letter to you in the sky on the day you were born. And it's so unique and powerful to you. But we can start to really understand the 12 themes and really break them down so that you can start to learn this language and be able to interpret the information. That's really what I do. I am not here to tell you who you are. You already know who you are. I am the interpreter of this information. I've just gotten really good at reading the blueprint. So I want to teach you how to read it in my Destiny Vibe style. So today we're going to break down the elements of astrology. The last 2 weeks I did this series. So last week I did the qualities of astrology, and the week prior to that I did the stages of astrology. So you can find those videos somewhere around here or below, or just search my channel and you will find them. Another cool thing about me is I'm a little bit savage in my mission because I'm also a Christian, and I truly believe that this tool, this divine tool of the divine zodiac, has been literally stolen from us, and we got to take it out of the hands of the enemy, popular astrology, and put it back in the hands of Christ-centered men or women. And I really do hope that's you. But I wanted to share too that the elements of astrology are literally in the beginning of the Bible in Genesis. And I always like to say that the divine zodiac is also like a spiritual syllabus for the meaning of life. Like we can really use it to understand our world and what we're doing on this earth experiment. So let me break it down, and I think it's going to blow your mind. So we start with fire, then we go to earth, then air, and then water. Signs are the spiritual force. Earth signs are the physical, tangible energy. Then we have air signs, which is our thoughts about it. And then we have water signs, which is our feelings. What's super cool about this is, like I said, it's a spiritual syllabus. So we all do this. This is actually the cycle of creation. That's why it's in the beginning of the Bible, right? It's the cycle of creation. So think about it this way. Spiritual energy moves into physical form. Fire signs, earth signs, okay? We have a thought about that, air signs. We have an emotion from our thought, water signs. And then that emotion, that energy in motion, helps us repeat the cycle and moves us into action, into that spiritual energy, right? And then we repeat the cycle. So technically, we could use the elements to understand the creation game. But of course, we can also use the elements to understand personality as well. So let's break each one down. Fire signs initiate every single stage of the zodiac. So Aries initiates survival. Leo initiates social, and Sagittarius initiates the spiritual stage. So that's another way to look at fire signs. They are action-packed. They go. They take massive action. Most people who have strong fire in their chart are going to be very impulsive and want to go for it. Go. Now remember, here on Destiny Vibes channel, we don't say that if someone's a Leo or an Aries, that means that they are a fire sign. No, because we know that the sun sign is nothing. You have to see the hero's journey roadmap. So really, when it comes to someone who's like action-packed and fiery, it's most likely because they have that either on their comfort zone side of their chart, or they just have a ton of fire energy in their chart, right? So it's not just your sign, right? But the basic breakdown here is that fire signs are action go-getters. Fire is also external or masculine energy. Now in the divine zodiac, we use gender, meaning extroverted versus introverted. So the masculine energy or the masculine themes are considered extroverted. That would be fire. And the introverted themes are considered feminine energy, okay? But at the end, I'll explain to you how that gender plays into the creation of life, because that part's super cool. Earth signs are the grounded force. Earth signs really want to be tangible and logical. And there are a lot of times they're very skeptical or very realistic, right? And they really need to kind of see it before they believe it. So really the earth signs of the zodiac, they're also about nature and, getting into the earth and getting into the ground, right? And they're really going to be there to help us create structure, to create organization, right? So they're really about the tangible and the earthly things. And earth signs are feminine, meaning they're introverted. So this is another really cool thing about the divine zodiac is each theme has a duality partner. Okay, so it's actually technically 6 duality theme teams is what I always like to say. So what's super cool is when we're doing the elements, the two masculine, which is air and fire, are going to be opposite of each other. Okay, so we'll use the example of Aries in the survival stage is opposite of Libra in the social stage, and Libra is an air sign. So air and fire go together, masculine. Earth and water go together, feminine. Okay, air signs. Air signs are the thinkers of the divine zodiac. They're always thinking about how am I going to say something, right? So the Gemini is like, how am I going to say words for the purpose of survival? And Libras are always like, how am I going to use words for the purpose of the relationship to be diplomatic and keep the peace? And Aquariuses are thinking, how am I going to use the words to innovate and do something big for the world that's, going to save the world? And it's like the spiritual mission. Now remember, fire and air are opposites. And there's another piece that I kind of weave into the teachings of the elements, which is the left brain, right brain concept. So the way I see it is Aries, I keep saying Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, but fire signs are masculine because they're extroverted. Air signs are also masculine because they're extroverted, right? But so then how are they a little bit different? Well, I feel like fire signs are more right-brained, so they're extroverted and they're just super impulsive, like feel it, right? Just go for it. Whereas like, I would say air signs, I keep saying Aries, Libra, I don't know why. Air signs, I'm not going to remove this from the recording. Let's just run with it. Air signs are going to be a little bit more left-brained in their extrovertedness. See? So we're going to do this dance, if you will, with the water and the earth in a second, but that's another way to truly understand the difference between them. So like, for example, a Libra versus an Aries, because I keep saying it for some reason, that's the example I want to go to. Aries is self, Libra is relationship and partnership, right? So Libras are always thinking both sides, and they're always in their head and in their thoughts and in their mind about the words they're going to use, right? So even though they're extroverted, they kind of think a little bit first before they go to be extroverted, whereas a fire sign like an Aries is just going to go. They're going to run. They're not going to think about it, right? And this is so powerful because when you realize that we're all wired differently, stop like taking advice from one self-help teacher or one faith-based leader and really recognize that you are unique and you have to understand your personality if it's aligned to what's right for you, right? So that's another really cool way to leverage this element teachings, if you will. So let's break down water. So last but not least, we've got the water signs. And water signs are just feeling energy, intuitive energy. They use their intuition. They walk into a room and they feel the energy in the room, right? So we've got the Cancer theme, which is the survival water. And then we've got that Scorpio, which is the social water. And then Pisces, that spiritual water. So let's break down the opposition. So earth and water are both feminine signs or introverted. That's what we mean by feminine. They're introverted, okay? So they want to go inward, but there's a little bit of a difference, right? So we've got earth signs are a little bit more of the left brain introverted because they're inward, but they're kind of like critically analyzing it, making sure it's very spreadsheety, like very organized, where we've got the water signs. The water signs are going to be more right-brained in their introvertedness. See where we can also bring in the left brain, right brain concepts here with the elements. One last thing I'll say about the elements is that you can really use the elements to understand so many incredible things. One of the things that I learned using the elements of the divine zodiac is why we call God He. Spiritual energy is the start of the creation cycle. And spiritual energy, aka fire signs, right? Or the fire energy, the fire theme, is literally masculine. So we start with masculine. And then the next step is physical energy, and that is feminine. So when I'm talking about what I like to call my 1, 2, 3, 4 method, it's basically just the elements of astrology helping you understand the creation dance, right? When I'm talking about that 1, 2, 3, 4 method, the 1 and the 2, spiritual energy moving into physical form, that's you being born. That's, anything that we're seeing being manifested, right, in the world. But that spiritual energy, that is the connection and the relationship between God and the physical world, right? So that is why we call God He, and that is why we call nature Mother Nature, because that's the earthly realm is the feminine in contrast to the masculine heavenly provider, right? So another way to think of this is every single thing on the earth plane, if you will, every physical, tangible thing, earth signs, everything about it is feminine. We are receiving the masculine force that is consciousness and spiritual energy. That is what I call the external landscape, what's happening on the outside, right? You can't necessarily control that, or at least it seems that we can't control that, right? But in the internal dance is the thoughts and the feelings, right? And that's the emotion, the energy in motion, when you bring that two together. And that is the internal landscape, and that is the only thing we can control, right? So air signs and water signs represent that. And that is kind of the Adam and Eve within, right? So thoughts are always going to be masculine and feelings are going to be feminine, even though we all have them. Men have thoughts and feelings and women have thoughts and feelings, right? So it's super cool when we work with the elements because we can really see this kind of yin and yang dance. It's this language of the world, right? I love the Divine Zodiac because it really is like a syllabus, a spiritual syllabus for understanding life and understanding how it all works. But one last thing I'll say is the thoughts are also kind of like attached, if you will, to the earth energy. So a lot of people will have like thoughts, and then they look at the earth and they're like commentary, right? Thoughts on what's happening in the physical land, right? And that goes together because thoughts are masculine and the world is feminine. And that's why when they say, we are made in the image and likeness of God, right? And when Adam and Eve, the part of the Bible where Adam and Eve come into the story, if you will, that's why there's this concept of like we as man are controlling the physical world, right? We are controlling the physical world because our thoughts are producing things into the world, right? And that's that masculine, feminine dance right there. But then you've got the masculine and the feminine of the internal landscape, which is our thoughts and our emotions, right? And that's like a whole nother video because we can really dive deep into romance and understanding men and women and understanding that dance of technically there's 4 people in every relationship because there's your thoughts and feelings and their thoughts and feelings, right? So that's like a whole other story we could do, a whole other video we can do. But what's super cool is then there's the yin and yang relationship of the emotions, or I should say feelings, if you will, the feelings, which is the water sign theme, right? So your feelings going and attaching to that spiritual force, right? And so that's how the feelings can really impress, like we say, the subconscious mind and start to either get us to inspired action or start to manifest something, or right? So this is big. And this is my other channel where I really go into conscious creation. It's called Sexy Fit Love with JFO. So if you want to subscribe there, make sure you're subscribed here as well. But that's where we do our conscious creation teachings. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments below if you loved it, what you loved about it, any questions you have, any videos you want me to do, and make sure to click the link below. I have 2 things for you. One is my freebie, it's totallyyourdestiny.com, where you can really learn your destiny and your comfort zone themes. You'll get a video, you'll get a birthday video or a birthday email from me as well if you put your birthday info in. But if you just want to get that information totally for free, you can. And I want you to sign up for Destiny Vibes Coaching. It is a beautiful experience where I'm going to create your amazing video on your hero's journey in the sky on the day you were born. You're going to learn every aspect of it. And then we're going to do deep coaching, unlimited coaching using the app Voxer voice memo support, me in your pocket for 2 to 3 weeks, where we dive deep into your life and how we can take this hero's journey roadmap and really apply it to changing your whole world. So I hope you find that and sign up, and I'll talk to you next week.